Surat. Surat, now one of the biggest cities of western India, is located on the bank of river Tapti in present day Gujarat. So Surat, which is one of the biggest cities of the western India, it is located on the bank of the river Tapti, present day Gujarat. During the medieval period, it grew to acquire the status of a major port city and trading center. So during the medieval period, Gujarat, or you can say the Surat, was considered as the major port city and a trading center where different types of business were taking place. It was also seen as a gateway to the West as traders used their port to conduct trade with West Asia. So during the medieval period, Surat was considered as the gateway, that means the main point where the traders from western part of the country, they used to come in our country India in order to do trade, that is business. It had a fertile hinterland which provided food and other resources as well as wealthy banking community. So the land of the Surat was considered as the fertile land where different types of foods and other resources were cultivated, due to which there was a wealthy banking community in the Surat. In 1514 CE, the Portuguese traveler Duarte Barbosa described it as an important seaport. During the Mughal rule, Surat became the main commercial city of India. So during the medieval period, or you can say during the Mughal period, Surat was considered as the main commercial city where different types of business were taking place. The town was a major center for export of textile, indigo and other articles. So in the Surat was considered as the major center where they used to, or you can say where the different types of items were exported from India to other parts of the country, that is textile, indigo and other articles. Goods and merchandise were transported from Surat to various parts of the Mughal Empire. So different types of goods and different types of textiles were transported from Surat to the various parts of the Mughal Empire. Raw cotton grown in the region around Surat were transported to Bengal. So even raw cottons which were grown in the Surat were transported to Bengal. Fine cotton textile produced in Bengal was transported to Surat to be shipped out to West Asia, East Africa, and Malabar. So, different types of fine cotton textile which were produced in the Bengal were transported to Surat so that they can export these items from Surat to other countries, that is West Asia, East Africa and Malabar. The main commodities exported from Surat were zari work, jewelry, silk fabrics, etc. In Surat, there were some important places like the custom house where traders paid taxes, the imperial mint where traders from foreign countries gave their gold and silver in exchange for coins in the Mughal Empire. So in the Surat, different types of places were established. So one such places is custom house where the traders, they used to pay taxes, and the other one is the imperial mint where the traders from the other countries, they used to give gold and silver in exchange of coins of the Mughal Empire. By the end of the 16th century, Surat was under the Portuguese control. So by the end of 16th century, Surat was captured by the Portuguese. Later, the English East India Company made it a trade transit point. So later on, after the Portuguese control, it was again captured by the East India Company and it was made as a trade point in order to do the business or import and export of items from India to other parts of the country, or to bring the goods from the other countries to India. In 1612, the British destroyed Portuguese naval supremacy and obtained an imperial firman from Jahangir to establish a British trading post and factory at Surat. So in the year 1612, British destroyed the Portuguese areas and factories and obtained an farman from the Mughal Emperor Jahangir in order to establish a British trading post and factories at Surat. However, Surat began to decline towards the end of the 17th century when the Maratha leader Shivaji ransacked it in in 1664. So later on, in the end of the 17th century, the Surat trading system was declined. Why? Because the Maratha leader Shivaji Rao was attacking against the Mughal Empire, against the British rule. The Mughal lost control over its market and productivity. So, as Marathas started capturing the Surat, and it totally destroyed the British and the Mughal, finally the Mughals lost their control over the Surat. Sensing the weakness of the Mughal power, the English shifted their headquarters to the Cambay. So later on, when the British East India Company, they saw how the Maratha defeated the Mughal Empire in the Surat. So finally, English, that is the English East India Company, they shifted their headquarters from Surat to Cambay. Surat was finally taken over by the British in 1759 CE. So later on, when they shifted the capital to Cambay in the year 1759, Surat was again captured by the British in the year 1759 CE. Crafts and technology. The different types of crafts practiced in the Indian subcontinent are well known for their aesthetic, functional and monetary value. So we already know that whatever the different types of crafts which were made in especially in our Indian subcontinent, they are well known for their cultures, their different types of items through which and how they are totally different from other cultures. The artists, weavers, painters, masons, stone cutters, carpenters, perfume maker, etc. played a pivotal role in popularizing Indian craft in India and all across the world. So, different types of items or different types of artists, weavers who make the paintings, who make the different types of potteries and different types of paintings, who used to cut these stones, and different types of carpenters and perfume makers, they played an important role in order to popularizing or making famous about the Indian cultures, Indian crafts, not only in India but across the world. They conceptualized beautiful and innovative design and pattern and translated them onto the cloth, paper or any other base. So later on, when the Indian crafts were becoming so famous, these concepts were again practiced, or they were printed in the you can see in the cloth, in the paper and other base, so that they can transform the Indian culture not only in India but in the other parts of the world too. Jewelries, carpets, furniture, perfume, home furnishings, sculptures and handmade crafts were greatly in demand. So the jewelries, different types of carpets, different types of furnitures, perfumes and home furnishings, sculpture, that is statues and handmade crafts were famous, and their demand was also increasing outside the world, or you can say outside the India. The members of the royal family wore clothes of silk, muslin, brocade along with pearl and gold jewelry, and use musk as well. So the royal family, especially the emperor's family, they used to wear the clothes or clothes made up of silk, muslin, okay, and the work was done with the help of pearl and gold jewelries. The luxurious lifestyle of the upper classes and nobles in society lead to an increased demand for crafts products. So as the royal family, they prefer different types of pearls and different types of you can say silk, muslin. So finally the demand of the crafts products were increases in a huge amount. So this is a muslin cloth and this is a brocade cloth. Cotton was the most important among all the fabrics used in this period. So cotton plays an important role, especially in the medieval period and in the Mughal period, because it was used by most of the people. Akbar encouraged the production of silk, and Bengal became a thriving center for the production of cotton and raw silk. So Akbar encouraged the production of silk because the demand of the silk was very high, and that's why Akbar finally made the Bengal as the main center where the production of cottons and raw silks was increasing day by day. Both the imperial workshops and karkhanas and the villages were engaged in the production of handicrafts. So different types of workshops were created, or the karkhanas and even the villages were engaged, so that the production of handicrafts can be increased. Craftspersons and traders resided in and around areas of export like the coast, trade centers, and in European factory towns like Madras and Calcutta. So craftsperson and traders, they used to reside in and outside the area of the export area, just like the coast area where they can transport the items from India to other parts of the country. Just especially those areas are known as Madras and Calcutta. They organize themselves into guild which help them produce articles of good quality while maintaining their work rights and conditions. So they used to make different types of groups through which they can produce the articles which will be of good quality, and so that they can maintain the working rights and condition and make a good quality of products. Indian craftsperson were adept and proficient in at their skill. So Indian craftsperson, they know what are the different types of way or method to make the crafts, and they were working or they were making different types of items in a very efficient way. They could reproduce the most difficult European design and pattern with perfection. So our Indian craftsperson were so talented, they can reproduce the different types of European design and pattern with perfection. So they were more talented, and they use this talent in order to make as number of items or the different types of crafts which not only become famous in India but also outside India.